What's up, guys? In this video I'm going to show you how to replace your fuel injectors on your Focus ST. I haven't seen a whole lot out there on how to do this, but this is definitely something as an ST owner that you need to be aware of. If you have a concerning amount of misfires and your car starts running lean and you have symptoms of bad injectors, that is a very easy way to completely lose your motor. So you want to make sure that if you have those symptoms, you want to stay on top of it. I've seen it starting with my car. I've noticed it has a misfire code and an air to fuel ratio code. And then obviously if I look at my access port, I see that, and I see that the AFR, whenever I floor it, is around like 12.5, which is lean for wide open throttle. So I know that this is an issue, and I've ran 2 bottles of fuel system cleaner through the car just to see if it gets better. And on this last gas tank, it did get slightly better. So what I'm thinking is maybe, hopefully, it is the injectors. If this does not fix it, I don't know. I've been chasing this issue, looking for like vacuum leaks and stuff like that. It's been back and forth. I've had issues with the O2 sensor too, which you should also be aware of as a Focus ST owner, that you probably will have to replace your O2 sensors at some point. My car is around 87,000 miles now, and I just kind of want to do everything ahead of time to keep it in the best shape possible. So I've had the intake valves cleaned, oil changes, transmission fluid changes, spark plugs, just stay on top of all that. But as far as the injectors go, I am pretty sure that my symptoms I'm having now, I mean, it doesn't affect drivability. I've still been driving it. I just don't go full throttle and lean it out and cause I guess, put the engine through more stress. I just been driving on it easy for a few weeks and it's been fine, although it is probably not the smartest decision, but I don't really have much of a choice. So I ordered these injectors to try and fix it. One of your options is you can take your injectors out and have them cleaned, but I didn't want to do that because I didn't want to take them out, do all that work, and have my car, I can't really leave it sitting in the garage, and I didn't want to have to, there's really no easy way for me to do that and ship my injectors off to have them cleaned and not be able to have my car. And I just don't like that idea, because if I pay to have them cleaned and then maybe something else is wrong with them, that they just like don't work or something like that, then it won't fix the issue. And I'd rather just have all new ones just for peace of mind. So that's what I decided to do. So I highly recommend getting them on Rock Auto. That's where I got mine. I got these Bosch injectors. They were like $70 a piece, and they come with all new O-rings on them, which if you change your injectors, you definitely need to put new O-rings and seals on them. These come with them. And also, if one of your injectors go bad, I would recommend replacing all 4, because if one goes bad, the other 3 are probably going to follow soon. And I did as much research as I could on pricing, and Rock Auto definitely has the best price. So that'll save you from looking at other places, unless you want to get used. On eBay, you can get like used refurbished ones, but you don't want to do that if you're replacing your injector, so stay away from that. And the Bosch one is the one I went with. There's a Motorcraft one for about $108. This was 70 something, and I got them shipped to my door for $300 something in 2 days. It came a day before it said it would. So another little tip with this is I actually thought the same thing, as I wanted to replace it with the OEM injectors. I wanted to use the Motorcraft Ford brand ones, because if I'm going to be doing this, I want to use the highest quality so I don't really have to worry about it again. But after doing a little bit more research, Bosch actually makes the injectors for Ford. And if you buy the Motorcraft one, you're pretty much paying $30 more per injector just to have a Ford logo on it, when it is the same, because Bosch makes, this is the one straight from Bosch. And then there's also just the Motorcraft ones, which is made by Bosch for Ford. So there's really no need to pay the extra money. So I went ahead and pretty much saved over $120 just to get pretty much the same thing, and it'll work great. There are fake Bosch injectors out there too. So this one, you can see it's got the verified seal on it, but like if you buy them off eBay, I've heard of people getting fake ones. So I got them from Rock Auto, and this is pretty much the best, most cost-effective way to do it. You can see the other 3 are there. So enough rambling about that. You can skip that if you didn't need all that information. But now to the actual working part. what we're gonna have to do is take off the intake manifold. My car's hot because I've been driving it, but I did let it cool down for about an hour or so. And we're going to have to take the intake manifold off, and then the fuel rail is under there. And we're gonna have to bleed the line. You can see it right there. There's a bolt there that we're gonna use to bleed the line. Another way to do it is, since my car's hot, I might do it that way. You can pull a fuse and just let it let all the fuel run out of the car, and then you won't have to worry about bleeding the fuel pressure. But we have to take the intake manifold off, so pretty much all you got to do is snap off this vacuum line here and get that up and out of the way, and then also unplug your sensor here and just get that wire out of the way, and then we'll move on to the rest of taking the intake manifold off. So you can see you've got your standard 10mm bolts here on the intake manifold. You can see, and then under these you can see I just unclipped this vacuum line here, and you can kind of just tuck that out of the way. I'm pretty sure you can unplug it from the back down there, and then this sensor just unplugs, and I just kind of tuck that back out of the way. And then you got your bolt here, and then I'm pretty sure there's one more over here, but maybe not. I think it's back up in there, but I will test that and figure it out. I'm pretty sure, yeah, there is one. It's just right there. You can see where my finger is. That's hot, but that's where it is back there. So I'm gonna go ahead and take all those bolts out, and then all you gotta do is this top, see if it'll focus. You can see this worm gear clamp right in there. Why won't my phone focus? You can see this one at the top. That's what you'll want to loosen and get that clamp completely loose, and then that's how you get the intake manifold off of the intercooler piping, and then you'll just completely pull this whole thing out, and that'll give us access to the fuel rail underneath. Okay, so this may look a little weird, but I decided to try and do this a different way than what people seem to say how to do it online. With some bungee cords, I use my splitter rods and tow strap and put them to good use, and just bungee cord. I took those bolts out, and then I just bungee corded this back out of the way, and you can see the fuel rail is right there, and there's quite a bit of room in here other than everything being extremely hot and capable of burning my hands. But if you wait long enough, you won't have to deal with that. You can see there's this heat shield or sound deadening. I don't really know what this is, but this is in here, and I'm taking it out. I don't really see what purpose that serves. That just looks like a fire hazard. But you can see, there it is. I can get to all of those bolts very easily, and taking this out is a hassle, I know, because I've done it before to install my catch can, because there's a bunch of clips behind there, and they're really hard to get off. You have to get your fingers into them. It's hard. You got to take like the vacuum line for the PCV thing, all that off, and then taking it off the intercooler pipe is easy to take it off, but putting it back on is really annoying. So you have to reach under and push the pipe up, and then also push down on the intake manifold, so you really need two people. That's just all annoying. So I'm going to do it this way and try to save myself some time. If it doesn't work, then it doesn't work, but I don't really see why it won't. You can see, well, the wiring harness here is kind of in the way, but this right there where my thumb is, that right there, I forgot, I think it's a 14mm. I'm not 100% sure, so don't quote me on that, but that right there, that my finger's touching, that is what you're going to use. Just use a crescent wrench to loosen that up, and that should bleed your fuel pressure. I'm pretty sure it just falls down in the engine, so I'm probably going to let it cool off a little bit before I do that. And then all I got to do there is, you can see all those bolts along here. You just kind of take all of those out, take them completely out, and that's how you can remove the fuel rail. And then the injectors should come out in the fuel rail, or they might just stay in the engine. I don't really know. And then the last thing you'll want to do is take off this sensor here, and that's just a simple unplug. There's right there this little tab. You press down on that and then pull it, and it comes out. And that's how you get the fuel rail out. And then I will show you how to put the injectors in once we do that. But also, something that you should do if while you're doing this, if you're not paying someone to do it, is you want to clean your intake valves here. which I just had it done professionally. I had them walnut blasted, where they just did this. They took this off, and you cleaned your valves down in there and get all the gunk off of it. My car had like 85,000 miles when I had that done. And, you know, they were fairly dirty, but it wasn't like a concerning amount. But it was definitely good to be have done, because the car did run noticeably smoother afterwards. So if you have a high mileage ST, you definitely want to get your intake valves walnut blasted and manually cleaned. And then after that, you can use spray cleaners to kind of keep up with them and keep them clean, or do meth injection. But that is just something I recommend if you want to do it while you have your intake manifold off. So I'm going to go ahead and get the fuel rail off, and then show you how to do the rest. So I just used this 11/16 wrench here and loosened this right here. You just pull it towards you this way and do it very slowly to slowly let the pressure out. After about an hour of driving home with my car, only a few drops came out, and I loosened all the way, and I let it like jangle around, you know, and it just dropped a little bit of gas in there. You can see it's wet. That's just because I sprayed detail spray to kind of get the gas. I don't know why I did that, just to try to get the gas out of there, I guess, and make it wet so it doesn't catch on fire. That logic probably doesn't make sense, but that's what I did. And now I just gotta take off all these bolts here to get the fuel rail out, and then we will start on the injectors, and then also take that plug out there. Also, something that I forgot to mention is you probably want to disconnect your battery before doing this, or just take the ground off there. And as I keep loosening those bolts, a little bit more gas keeps coming out, which I don't know if that's right, but I'm going to take that off just to make sure that nothing happens, because I do not want to be responsible for anyone burning their car down. So make sure you bleed the fuel pressure. I sprayed it. I made it a little bit wet down there. I don't really know what that does. I guess just keep the gas from igniting. Not really. But then just make sure that your car, you know, you could pull the relay and then start it and just let the car run out of gas. But I don't really know if that's good for your car or how to find the fuse to do that. So I would rather just kind of do it this way. So I'm going to go ahead and disconnect my battery because I forgot to. I meant to tell you to do that, but make sure you disconnect your battery before doing this. And once you have your fuel rail out, you can see mine's loose. And I actually put like a cup right here and kind of tilted it and poured out all the fuel into that and got rid of it so it didn't dump down in the engine bay, just to be safe. I'm also going to keep it tilted this way as I pull it out, just so I don't dump gas everywhere. And once you have this out, you just have to reach under each injector and unplug it. If you can see on the new injectors, that's what the plug looks like. You just have to push the clips and pull them all out. And then you'll be able to get the whole fuel rail out, and we can install the new injectors. So here you can see I have the fuel rail taken out and all of the old injectors. What I found was the easiest way was to just kind of roll this over, and you could see, you know, these were in here like that. And I just kind of wiggled them around and popped all the injectors out while they were still plugged in to the harness in here. I just took a pair of pliers, which is the easiest way because my clips were really stuck. So I just put the pliers around the clip like that, and all you got to do is press this thing down until it snaps, and then once it snaps, it's really easy to not like snap like break, but it just snaps off, and that makes it really easy to unplug. And looking at my old injectors here, if you told me that these were causing issues, I would not have trouble believing you. Let's see if I can get it to focus. Use that macro lens. That's not gonna work. All right, anyways, you can see this one is caked up with all kinds of stuff. I don't even know what that is. I don't know how it even got on there. Looks like a leak of some sort, or I don't know. This was the only one that was like this. It had stuff all over it. And then if I can get it to focus here, you can see there's the end of it. That is how it came out. So the fuel injector came out of the car with all of that gunk on it. And that was cylinder 4. That wasn't even the one giving me the issue. Here's cylinder 3. You can see there's a little bit of dirt. Those holes on the end don't look like they're in the best shape. Here's cylinder 2. This is the one that was giving me the misfire. And I switched the coil pack around and stuff, and it still misfired. But you can see, I mean, I don't see a huge difference. If you look in the end of those holes there, I mean, they don't look clean, that's for sure. So cleaning these probably would have helped, but I'd rather just replace them. So those are my old injectors there compared to the new ones. And before putting the new ones in, there is one part we have to snap over, but it switch over, but it doesn't. You don't need to get a new one. It's these little clips here that are on it. You can see with that hole in it there, they're just kind of loose. I can't do it with one hand, but you just snap those off and then snap them around the top of the new injectors, and then they are ready to go in. And then also something else I do recommend while you have all this out, take a paper towel and just clean up everything. I'm going to clean all those little holes, get all that stuff, whatever is happening here around cylinder 4. I don't know what this is, but it is all over the fuel rail too. I think it must be, like, you can see all up inside of there, there's like that dark area. I'm wondering if it's like a leak or ventilation from my catch can here. I'm wondering if that's what it's from, because this kind of gets like some oil around it. It just looks like vapor that's kind of landed on there, but that might be what that is. But then also down in there, all those holes, make sure those are all clean before putting your injectors in there, just to make sure that you don't have any leaks. So now you pretty much just have to undo everything you already did. You can see I moved those little clips onto all of the new fuel injectors. And what I'm going to do to avoid damaging these in any way is I'm going to put these in first, then plug in the wiring harness, and then put the fuel rail on top of them last, just because I feel like that's the easiest way not to damage them when putting them in. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure everything's clean and slide them all in, and then I will work on putting the fuel rail back on and get everything else put back together. So I got the fuel rail put back in. All I did was shove the injectors in there as much as I could, and then I put the fuel rail on. It's kind of hard to do when putting the injectors in first, but you just kind of got to finagle it around through here, and then you'll eventually get right here where this fuel line lines up to the right spot, and then you put that nut over, tighten it down, and then, you know, just tighten these like one at, don't tighten them like one all the way tight, and then do the other ones. Tighten them, you know, just a little bit on each one and go back and forth, like kind of how you would on like a star pattern on when putting a wheel on, just to make sure that it gets seated in there perfectly. And you could even see right there on the fuel rail that Bosch made it, so using Bosch injectors is perfectly fine. And then when you're done, just make sure everything is on there correctly, make sure everything's tight, make sure to tighten that back down, and plug your sensor back in, plug in all the injectors, and then I used a flashlight, inspected the seals and everything, just to make sure there's nothing that is apparently and obviously wrong. So now that I've done that, I'm going to take my bungee cords off here and put the intake manifold back on, get everything plugged back in, and then we're going to start it up and test it, and make sure that there are no leaks, and cross our fingers that this fixes my issue. So I have the intake manifold put back on, and got all the bolts tightened down. I've got all the plugs, this one plugged back in. I had to take that vacuum line off for a second to reach down in there. Got that put back on, the plug down in there. Just make sure, double check everything to make sure that everything is put back on. And now all I have to do is, actually I forgot about this until I just now saw it, but I got to attach, hook my battery back up. And once that is all put together, we are ready to test it and make sure that there's nothing wrong and everything works. Alright, so here is the moment of truth. Hopefully it doesn't burst into flames. So obviously it takes a little while to start, and since we took the battery off, you'll see it'll do a few things there. Reset this screen on here. Don't know what else it resets, but there's a chance that this won't fix the issue, and that I will have to what I'll have to do is, you can do on the access port, or you can just take your battery, completely disconnect both cables and just like let it sit for, I don't know, a few minutes. And yeah, you can see it reset the clock on there and the radio stations and all that. But you can reset your keep alive memory, which is like just the car remembering like the ECU learning and whatnot. And if you reset that, that'll reset everything and make sure that it doesn't save any old data from messed up stuff. And it'll completely reset your car, and that'll just kind of give your car a fresh start to make sure everything worked. I had to do that after I fixed my O2 sensors, and that fixed that issue. So I'm going to go ahead and let it warm up for a little bit and rev it up, and then go inspect the engine bay to make sure nothing's wrong. So it's been running for a while, and I revved it up and checked over everything, and nothing is wrong with it. And so far it seems to have fixed my issue. I reset the keep alive memory and also cleared all my codes. So we'll see if anything comes back, but for now, the numbers that it is showing, it does seem to be fixed. So hopefully this fixed the issue. That is how to change your injectors on your Focus ST. It is a good thing to do if you have a high mileage ST anyways, to make sure you never have any issues. But other than that, please like and subscribe, and follow me on Nickjoenap, or on Instagram at Nickjoenap. It's the same as my channel name. And also look in the description for the link to my merch. That really helps out with the channel and helps support the build. And hopefully I will be adding more merch to that soon, more designs and stuff. But please leave a like and subscribe and comment. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.